Hey everybody, welcome to Visual Communications and Media. My name is Adam Rozeski. It's a pleasure to each and every one of you, and welcome to the end of week one. It's so excited to have you all here. Hope everybody was able to find the lecture. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. Also, just some quick announcements. Do keep in mind that both of your discussion posts are due at the end of night tonight, and then you also have your written assignment and your live lecture assignments due tomorrow night. We will have lecture on Monday at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, and the link should be posted on the announcements tomorrow, so if you have any questions, let me know. But I figured I'd talk to you about one thing we didn't talk about in lecture, which is lines. I always use my second announcement to kind of talk about something that is going to help you with your assignments. So let's get into it. So let's talk about lines and their usage and how it matters in more ways than one, with all the specific capabilities, and we can go from there. So let's begin and let's rock it from there. So lines. A line is one of the basic elements of visual communication. Lines direct the flow of content. They define space and emphasis on a specific area. Each type of line represents a different kind of mood or sense in some way or form. And without it, it can be kind of different in more ways than one specifically. Now, straight lines, they give the impression of strictness and rigidity. Groups and companies use straight lines to show organization and reliability. These also tend to show playfulness and grace. These lines are more flexible. Groups and companies use to show these security to put viewers at ease. Now, it's interesting between these two lines. Straight lines, because of the fact that they use straight organizational elements, a lot of groups tend to show these to bring reliability and for consistency a lot of times. If things don't change, then they don't have to relearn something new. That's what companies use with straight lines. Now, as we discussed with curved lines a little bit below, they show playfulness and grace. Both of these lines show trust, but in different elements. One shows consistency, one shows playfulness, and a little bit of relaxation. So while people control a little order, these showcase a little flexibility, which really matters with a lot of things. And companies use these styles to showcase fun, new ways to really identify different things of freedom and also design. And that allows a little fun for the user, which allows them to relax a little bit. So while one's a little bit more relaxing, the other one is more for consistency and order, so we don't have to reuse everything. And that's what these two lines are usually used. Now, diagonal lines, these are the most stimulating and pleasing to the eye. They help direct viewers' eyes, and sometimes they can cause a little bit of confusion and tension. If you put a whole bunch of diagonal lines together, much like this image right here, it can get really hard to focus in those elements, and without it, it can get really tough. And we tend to see diagonal lines used to promote exciting events. And it gets hilarious how it gets tied to where we see them point to a specific direction, and it helps guides movement a lot of times. We always see diagonal lines in direction and stuff. But overall, they are very pleasing to the eye. Now, thick, dark lines are a little different. They're meant for boldness. They're meant to use confidence and strength. And they're meant for groups to appear successful in more ways than one. Now, a lot of times we tend to see this stuff is they're thick and bold, and we use this for confident events. We tend to see this a lot for like movie theater, movies, wrestling events, any type of like big event to be confident and to show off that there's going to be a lot of things. That's what's used for thick, dark lines. Where diagonal is more pleasing and directional, thick, dark lines are meant to show anything that highlights a big event or something that needs to be proud with a lot of different aspects. Now, thin light lines are a little different. They're meant for delicacy and gentleness. They're meant for an organized but not overbearing look. And companies use these to showcase beauty without intimidation. And we tend to see this a lot with the structure with that. And we see this a lot with like clothing lines. We tend to see this a lot with artistic expression groups. Anything that shows beauty or delicacy in a lot of ways. And that's where we see thin light lines. These could be curved, these could be straight, these could be diagonal. It doesn't matter as long as they're thinner. They're meant for more of a aesthetic look. Now, group lines are different. They're meant for exploration, and they're meant to show off data. And companies use these to prove their facts by using an a visual technique known as logos. And we see a lot where we tend to see facts, and they'll put facts out there to prove that their stuff is right. And that's where we see group lines a lot. But other than that, these are 6 good examples. There's a lot of more lines out there, like dotted lines, curved dotted lines, dashed lines. I forget the name of the line, but it's just like it's like circles, but it's dashed in a way. There's a lot of different lines, double lines, single, dark, bold lines, underlined elements. There's so many different lines that tie into it and have different reactions. These are just 6 examples that you can use. Other than that, hope everybody has a great weekend. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Hope to see everybody for lecture on Monday, and please have everyone enjoy. Take it easy, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.